I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask that you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Welcome to our guests. This is our regular July public meeting. Lisa, would you please read the opening statement and call the roll?
This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with the Senator Byron M. Baird Open Public Meetings Act, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority set its annual meeting schedule for August 2017 through July 2018, setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting to the Secretary of State's office in Trenton, New Jersey, and the office of the Clerk of Atlantic City. The notice was published in the Press of Atlantic City, the Camden Courier-Post, and the New York Star Ledger on August 1st, 2017, and August 2nd, 2017. Members of the press will be permitted to take photographs at today's meeting, providing that it is done in a manner which is not distracting to the authority, nor interferes with the public's right to observe the meeting. Any member of the public who wishes to address the authority regarding items to be presented to the board today will be given the opportunity to do so. Comments regarding any issues that do not appear on today's agenda will be taken during the public comment portion at the end of the meeting. We ask that members of the public who address the board stand and state their name and address for the record each time they speak on an issue. It is also requested that comments be limited to 3 minutes per issue. Deborah DiLorenzo.
Present.
And Ian.
He's here. Where is he? In the men's room. He's here. I'll give you a yes, please.
Here it comes.
Here. Got it. Mark Antonio.
I quoted you.
Thank you.
Mayor Frank Gilliam.
Present.
Michael Hanley.
Here.
Darren Hill.
Here.
Howard Kyle.
Here.
William Mullen.
Here.
Kevin Ortsman. James Closis.
Here.
Dave Reebok for the State Attorney General.
Here.
Bob Shaughnessy for the State Treasurer.
Here.
Robert Long for the DCA Commission.
Good afternoon.
Frank Spencer.
Here.
Richard Folsom.
Here.
Chairman Robert Mulcahy.
Here. The first item on the agenda is ratification of the minutes of the June 19th public meeting. I assume you've all read it. Does anybody have any corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion? I heard Mr. Paulson's moved it. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered.
I'm going to abstain on those, just for the record, since I wasn't here the last
sure.
meeting.
Before we begin the regular portion of the meeting, I'd like to take the time to, first of all, welcome officially as our Executive Director, Matt Doherty. He's been here since the 1st of July and has taken over, and we look forward to the relationship and to the things that he and I have talked about doing for the CRDA and for Atlantic City. And I think the last committee meeting gave an indication as to the kinds of things that we think we can do to enhance life here. I also want to welcome Marshall Spivak. Marshall, where are you? Who officially is the deputy. And I'd like to also welcome officially Rob Long, the Deputy Commissioner of DCA, a real student of government. You may as well understand that he's a czar when it comes to Atlantic City, but more importantly for this board, this is the highest ranking person since Chuck Richmond would come to a meeting that we've had here in our efforts to do things to help the city of Atlantic City. So Rob, we are very excited that you're here. Welcome you and look forward to being able to work with you for the things that you and all of us think are important for the city. So thank you, and we appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
With that, I'd like to ask Matt to give his first Executive Director's report on what's going on here. You're on.
Thank you. I will be brief since it's 80-something degrees outside. I'm sure everyone would rather be on the beach than sit in the conference room. I want to thank you, Chairman, and the rest of the members of the board for their confidence in my position here as Executive Director. Since we met, there's been a couple things going on in the city. A couple things. 2 new casinos open. Hard Rock and Ocean Resort both open on June 28th. They could not have opened at a better time. I think it rained twice since then. The boardwalk has been jam-packed. The city is alive. We had one beach concert already, Sam Hunt, back in the beginning of July. Another two coming up towards the end of this month. That is going to bring in tens of thousands of people to take a look at what Atlantic City looks like now. And in a lot of ways, it looks now better now, Mayor, than ever before. And I look forward to working with the mayor and his leadership on advancing things here in Atlantic City as well. So again, I wanted to be brief. But one thing I do think that's worth noting, although I don't know if Larry is here, is Broadway on the boardwalk. Larry has been able to work that out where we actually have real Broadway actors come down to the boardwalk in Atlantic City, and it's something you can view for free. So we hope that we'll try to take advantage of that as much as possible. That's Monday nights yesterday, and then next Monday, the 23rd, is the last time it's going to be available at Kennedy Plaza in front of Boardwalk Hall. So that's all for me, Chairman.
That was relatively inexpensive too, to do the boardwalk, Broadway.
It was relatively inexpensive, particularly the fact that you get some really talented folks coming from shows that people will recognize, whether it's Wicked, Kinky Boots. So this is not off-Broadway shows. These are things that are in the mainstream that people pay a high price dollar per ticket to go see.
And one thing I would like to call attention to, which we adopted at the last meeting, but I do want to say a couple things about. We unanimously approved moving forward with a lease with the company called Continent 8 for a major data center in the convention center to attract new technology and to spur business. We have gotten a tremendously positive response from the business community. We saw it in the press this week, and I think what it demonstrates is that CRDA is being creative and successful in bringing a new generation of opportunities to Atlantic City. So I want to congratulate you, Matt, and Marshall for seizing on this opportunity. It is a revenue-producing item for us in the convention center with a lease that's $101,000, I think, a year. And the more exciting thing is the interest that seemed to generate in what they can do with other businesses in the city here or in the area. So I think that really is sort of caught our eye, and it was something that was sort of a routine business thing until suddenly we were able to see what it could generate. And I think that's important.
Thank you, Chairman. If there's any good politician, I'll fully take the credit, even though it really is all Marshall. So.
Okay. As we get to the regular agenda for today, the first item is we have a consent agenda of 10 items. These are items, resolutions that are normal for beginning the year. We will read the resolutions for all 10. Is there any member that needs to recuse themselves from any of the items? Tell me at this particular moment. Mayor?
15.
I'm sorry?
15.
We're just doing 1 through 10 right now.
Oh, just 1 through, okay.
Yeah, these are you'll hear them when we go through it. They're the schedule of meetings in newspapers.
Got it.
Who can sign checks. So, Lisa, if you would read those resolutions right now.
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority adopting the annual notice of meetings and annual notice of land use hearings. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating certain newspapers to receive meeting and general notices. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority appointing certain individuals to the offices of Secretary and Assistant Secretary. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating an individual to serve as Public Agency Compliance Officer. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating an individual to serve as custodian of records. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating individuals to serve as Ethics Liaison Officer and Alternate Ethics Liaison Officer. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating individuals to serve as certifying officer and supervisor for matters pertaining to the state of New Jersey retirement system. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating signatories in accordance with state treasury requirements. Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority designating signatories to conduct business with U.S. Bank as bond trustee to the authority's Series 2014 luxury tax revenue bonds, Series 2004 hotel room fee revenue bonds, and Series 2005 parking fee revenue bonds. And resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority pertaining to check signing privileges on authority bank accounts.
For the information of the board, the only changes from previous year is the fact that Matt and Marshall are inserted into roles that the previous executive director and deputy had, and that all the rest of the names, I believe, Paul, are similar to what was in the past, just so the board understands and knows. Any questions from any board member? Any question for the public?
Yeah, I look at one question.
Yes, sir.
How do you go about getting the schedule of this top number one?
We have it attached, and we'd be happy to give it to you after the meeting,
Okay, just
Mr.
wondering.
Cheatham.
A little hard getting things here sometimes, so that's what I asked.
I will guarantee you, Mr. Cheatham, that I will personally hand you that schedule,
Well, thank you.
okay?
Appreciate that.
Right after the meeting. Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Shaughnessy, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the mayor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the authorization for awarding professional services agreement for bond counsel. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority awarding 2 professional services agreements with bond counsel for a 2-year term ending July 31st, 2020.
Anybody need to be recused? Matt, you want to describe the action?
Yeah, it's just an appointment for bond counsel in case we need them for any bonding for this year, or a 2-year period going through July 31st of 2020.
Board discussion, any questions?
So the fees are only incurred as the services are employed, right?
That's correct. Any other questions from board members? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, motion to adopt the resolution on the bond council?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Hanley, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Tolson. Hearing no further questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is special legal counsel resolution. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approving the designation of special legal counsel and the execution of professional services agreements with Connell Foley LLP, Riker, Danzig, Shearer, Highland, and Ferretti LLP, and McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman LLC.
Chairman, I'll recuse myself.
Mr. Hanley's recusing himself from this matter. Any other recusals? Matt?
Similar to the to item number 11, appointed special legal counsel for a 2-year period going through July 31st, 2020. This is an as-needed basis, so again, fees will incur as as they do the work. Granted, we have our own special counsel in Paul Weiss. He's very special, but on occasion we do need to go outside, and that's what these firms will be used for.
Board discussion. Public discussion. Yes, sir.
What is the per diem, or how's it charging you per hour and for paralegals? There's none listed.
We have it.
Paralegals?
Well, how much for paralegals, how much for legal advice? It's a contract we're always reading that, like Cheesewood is $5 million. I don't want a $5 million bill.
Sure.
We got it.
Sir, the rates are actually established through the Attorney General's guidelines. We essentially follow those guidelines. Partners and counsel is at $220 an hour. Associates are at $175 an hour. Paralegals are at $125 an hour. And administrative support is at $90 an hour. Again, those are in line with the Attorney General's guidelines for engaging outside counsel by other state entities as well as the AG's office.
Thank you.
And the paralegals are 90.
Yeah, significantly below the market rate for those services.
Other questions from the public? Hearing none, a motion to adopt the resolution on special legal counsel. Moved by Mr. Tolson. Is there a second? Mr. Howard, I'm drawing a blank here. Mr. Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is environmental remediation services. Authorization to award a contract in an aggregate amount not to exceed $125,000 to Tobar Incorporated and Brinks Tank Environmental Services on an as-needed basis. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority awarding a contract to Tobar Incorporated and Environmental Services Incorporated for environmental remediation services on an as-needed basis through August 1st, 2019, with an aggregate authorized spending limit not to exceed $125,000.
Any recusals? Matt?
Yes, as needed services, typical services would include underground storage tank removal and soil and ground water remediation on CRDA-owned property only.
Board discussion.
Question.
Mr.
I
Tolson.
neglected to ask this, I made myself a note. Is there an opportunity, you clarified one part of it, CRDA-owned properties, this isn't residents or businesses throughout town, to coordinate with the program the EDA has and qualifying for dollars that they have available for remediation? Or is it something that we might be able to look at?
Have we done that before?
I believe the city, excuse me, municipalities are only the ones qualified for it.
Okay.
I don't believe we are as another state agency. I've tried.
And I think the city has taken advantage of that on occasion.
They are.
Yeah, I didn't know if the board was, it was available to our authority or not, but.
Other questions from board members? Hearing none, public comment? Motion to accept the adopt the resolution. Moved by Mr. Shaughnessy, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Kyle. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is SID Warehouse. This is Special Improvement District Warehouse, additional lease space, an authorization to affirm an amendment to our lease. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority affirming an amendment to lease agreement to add certain property located at 11 to 13 North New Jersey Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey, to be utilized by the Special Improvement District Division.
Any recusals? Matt, this is a little bit complicated. Do you want to explain it?
Yes, sir. So there is a warehouse that we operate out of that was damaged by a vehicle, and it was deemed to be structurally unsound for part of it. So we needed additional space. We were able to find space adjacent to it, to the property. Unfortunately, for a while, particularly during the extensive period of heat that we had, our Special Improvement District folks were actually outside for a lot of that. And as much stress as they have going out and cleaning up and doing their duties, coming back and knowing that they had no shade whatsoever, made it that much more arduous. So this is an area that our SID director was able to find at a reasonable cost. This is a month-to-month basis, and working with our attorney, this is a contract that I executed on an emergent basis, so we're here before the board just to verify or to
Approve
the
action.
that I took earlier.
Board discussion.
Any estimates on how many months?
1 to 2.
Hopefully no more than 2.
Thanks, Rick.
It belies the problem that we face as to a permanent site for SID, and the structural damage here was to a structural member, and that's what made it so difficult, because it supported the roof. Other questions from board members? This is really a resolution to approve the emergent action that the executive director took, which he had to take. He called me, and we're there. Public discussion. Any public discussion?
I asked a
Mr. Cheatham.
question about warehouses and storage areas. Doesn't the city have any storage areas within the confines of our city anywhere?
We
It
have.
could be used?
I can tell you in the past that we have investigated that, we've looked at it, and if there was a way to be able to accommodate that, we certainly would be open to it, but I don't think that we've been able to come up with anything at this point that met that. I mean, we've actively looked at this, and we find ourselves in a position of having to deal with it ourselves. Other questions from the public? Yes, sir.
I'm not opposed to this, okay, but I have a question. You have the East Hall, which is sitting empty. Do you use
I'm
that for
sorry, what?
anything? The East Hall, which is sitting empty.
Yeah.
You're putting a new roof on, as a matter of fact. Is that used for anything?
We can't use it for vehicles and things like that Sid uses. It violates certain fire codes. Next to East Hall is the main hall, and, we have gasoline, we have other things.
Well, I've driven into the East Hall. I've been driven into the East Hall for private entry into things, so I know that
Oh,
there's,
I'm sorry, West Hall, sorry.
or West Hall, whichever hall. The ones with those banners. Enough said, thank you.
I do know that was looked at by the committee, looking for location.
I think it's a great museum spot myself.
In regards to this move though, Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
could, the location of where it's being moved and what we're talking about moving, it's more expedient. It's 1 to 2 months, they're moving back into their existing location. It makes all the sense from a mobility standpoint.
We were lucky, the warehouse immediately abutting the back of the existing space was vacant.
It's perfect.
We were able to cut a hole in the wall and move some equipment in and operate right there without completely relocating, which helped us to limp along, which was,
To operate.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank the board for that consideration to get those guys off the street during their break time and lunchtime, so they actually have a physical place to go into. So just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you. Other comments from the public? Motion to approve the emergency action.
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Gant, is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Mr. Spencer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is the Boardwalk Interactive Lighting Project. Approval to amend the project. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approving an amendment to the Boardwalk Interactive Light Display Project to support certain security and public safety upgrades for the city of Atlantic City.
Anybody need to be recused? The mayor's recused on this. This is another example of CRDA helping. Matt, do you want to go through what you've negotiated with the city?
Sure, this is a donation from the CRDA of 58 cameras, really 70 cameras, because 12 are already deployed at Browns Park, but there's another 58 cameras for the public safety building to complement other cameras that they're buying and putting up there as well for much needed upgrades. We had the deputy chief here before, Sarkos, who was talking to us about how old that building is at this point and how dated their technology is, so this is part of an upgrade to that building on Atlantic Avenue.
I think the important issue here is the board remembers a couple of years ago, we did the Impact of 8 project on the boardwalk. These are cameras that were left over from that project. The generation of camera has gone forward, and the police department has found 2 uses for the surplus cameras that we had. One was Browns Park, which desperately needed to have cameras installed, and the balance of these would be available to be repurposed by the police department. And they brought to our attention some incidents that had happened in the police station that I don't want to go into, but would certainly be helpful if they'd had cameras there. So I think this is another example of the CRDA working together with an agency of the city to accomplish a purpose that really helps everybody. Board discussion. Public discussion.
One
Yes,
question
Mr.
about
Chair.
these cameras. Now, all these things are very good for our city, very useful for the police department. But in the long run, who's going to take care of this and keep it up to date? See, this is what has happened over the years We have all these things assigned to us, or given to us, or paid for, and then we don't maintain things. Now, who's gonna maintain these cameras, keep them up to date on a continuous basis? And not say, well, it's the other guy's responsibility, oh, the other guy's responsibility.
Yeah. The arrangement here, Bill, is that the police department will install them and maintain them.
That's good that the police department has the budget scheduled
Well,
for these things.
they've put the money up, they've put $87,000 up to install them and get them working. And it'll be part of their budget on a
We're
continued.
great for taking money that's supposed to go for one thing, and we do it for something else with it, and it never gets done.
Well, in this case, we know exactly where they're going. We've worked that out with an agreement. And once they've installed the cameras, then it's up to the police department to be held accountable for what they do. It's not ours. We've made our donation here. It's on their
That sounds
property.
nice, but then the other guy's gonna say, well, we had to cut our budget, we don't have the money for it.
It's allocated.
Well, that's good, as long as it stays in allegation for it. That's the point. Sometimes
Other-
emergencies come up.
Other public comment? Seeing none,
Motion. Second.
it's been moved by Gary, seconded by Mr. Gant. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. That concludes our regular portion of the public meeting today. It was rather short, I think indicative of July and the heat. We do come to the public comment section of the meeting. There will be a very short executive session of the board. I don't expect any action to come out of it, but anybody is welcome to wait until that time. So public comment, anybody from the public wish to address the board? Yes, sir.
Can I ask for a report on where we stand officially with cleaning up the land around the ocean? Does anyone know?
The Ocean Resort, not the
Ocean
actual
Resort.
ocean.
Ocean Resort.
Oh.
The land around the ocean by the beach, that looks good.
Sorry, you want to know,
Well,
Where we
I've been
stand.
bringing it up for several meetings, and it's what the CRDA took, but we don't know who the ownership was, and we were trying to establish the ownership, and I don't know what's been done. I know that Rick said to me at the meeting that Ocean owned that stuff.
Well, the one, you mentioned the one planter that was curved
That
last
was in
time.
New Jersey in the boardwalk. It looked like crap, they've weeded it.
Yeah, that's an Ocean
Okay.
Resort property.
But now the strip on Connecticut Avenue that you guys took and put the berms and the strip on Oriental, who owns those?
They're in the public right
In-
of way, and we've been installing clamshell, mulch, removing dead material there.
It's mostly dead material and weeds and trash. And in this room, I've been told that we find out who would own it and that you try and get on top of them. Is there anything moving in that vein?
well, it's a public right-of-way, so it's either the city, the county, or the state, but that's what our city employees go out and clean up on a
They're
regular
not doing
basis.
it well, but they are taking the weed whackers and going through there.
I
do
would
know
This is
that.
put 5 ton of crushed shell down. We have a bunch of mulch that went down. We have weed abatement that took place. We took out about 9 dead trees that were there.
Not the spots I'm speaking, I do believe that's been done.
Connecticut.
You've done that, I'm not doubting
Yeah,
that.
Connecticut's, yeah,
On Connecticut and Oriental, just drive by there, you'll see.
yeah. And Oriental is bordered by private lots on either side. We have no jurisdiction
Right.
on the Oriental properties. They're privately owned lots on either side.
But that's different from what you were originally talking about, as far as being on a public
The
right-of-way.
Oriental piece abuts the street. It was part of the street, and you pulled it out, you in conjunction with Revel and the city, pulled it out and put in bushes, things like that. Nick Telvacchia was the attorney. I've said that before too, somewhere he should have some kind of record of it. But nothing's being done, and it's the entry into one of our new resorts, and it looks like hell.
We will have an answer at the next meeting.
Thank you. Next point, and I mention it every meeting. The public bathrooms, closing them is not to our benefit. I joke about myself, but this isn't about me. Our tourists are regularly jumping up and down as we have our restrooms closed. Please, clean around the people, or do it at 6 in the morning when there's fewer people on the boards. You're out there at 6, I see it.
We had a pretty thorough discussion about this in the committee today, about the whole bathroom situation on the boardwalk. The situation itself requires us to relook at exactly the conditions of the bathrooms, as well as the schedule, and we are undertaking that.
Good, I'll tell you right now that when you're closed, they're paying in the dunes. So if they get a ticket, who they give it to, you guys?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, the candor of our discussion should remain a little higher.
We want to raise the level.
It is, it's what's going on.
I understand that, but
That scene from your boardwalk, your main tourist way.
how we express what we see may be better described.
I could speak more
I
gracefully,
appreciate that.
thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the public have an
Well,
issue they wish to
Being
raise?
that you're having a short meeting, I'll make it a little longer. But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I listen to all these things going on and on. But, you know, I lived on Maryland Avenue for 50 years at home. And I was taxed out of my home. No problem with the mayor that we have now, but it's how this things worked out. Now, the property was damaged, destroyed, and everything else. You had to demolish it. Now it's a lot. CRDA spent the money to demolish it. Maryland Avenue is on the tourist area. Leads right from Hard Rock. All right, now, the lot you tore my house, everything else down, and other houses around, now it's nothing but weeds growing all over the place, not being cut. I don't know whose job it is to cut. You can tell me it's somebody else's property and this and that. The point is, these are the things that make our city look bad. These lots that are not being kept up or cut, properties that are owned by other people, and you say that there's responsibility. Whoever responsibility it is, we need to get our city in shape, ladies. Regardless of whose responsibility it is, if you gotta charge them on the tax bill, then you charge them on the tax bill. But let's get it done. These lots look a mess going out of the city on these streets and coming in. We need to handle these things, no matter whose responsibility
Bill,
it is.
here's the issue. We don't own that property.
There you go. I know
But-
you don't own it. I know
Yeah.
right
So
away.
let me ask you a question. You suggesting that we go in there and do it and we don't own it?
I'm suggesting the city can go in there and do it and charge them on their taxes.
It's a different issue.
Well, and I don't care what is a different issue,
I
but we need to
understand,
get
but
it
Mike,
together.
Bill, I'm just trying to make a point here that there's certain things we can do under the law and certain things we can't do.
Well, you
Look,
tore
we
the
had a-
buildings down.
Listen to me. We had a discussion about this today that talked about a lot of things in the city that could be improved, particularly in the tourism district. But there are statutes that prohibit us from doing certain things. I understand what you're saying. We all agree that that should be, but it's difficult if we don't own the property to go in there and improve it.
Well, then why can't we get our legislators? What are they getting paid for? Change some laws,
Well, that's
man.
another issue.
Change some laws.
Ultimately, it's the property owner's responsibility to maintain that property. If he's not maintaining that property, then it's a code enforcement responsibility on part of the city to ensure that he does. So that goes back to the whole code enforcement issue.
Well, then there you go. The city's responsibility to get behind the people and get it done. Is that right, Mayor?
Absolutely correct.
All right then. See, here's the thing. Everybody points fingers.
We're not
Let's get
pointing
it done.
fingers, Bill. We're just trying to explain
But
to
let-
you the
you-
situation.
Listen, you don't have to explain it to me at all. Okay, really, seriously. But that's not the point.
I understand
The
your point.
citizens and the visitors are what see our mess.
Right.
They don't know whose mess it belongs to. They don't know if it's your mess, the city's mess, whoever it is.
I
They don't
get
know
you.
that.
I grant you that.
Let's change our image, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. Very, very important.
Got it. I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Marcus King. I'm president of Teamsters Local 331, who represents the maintenance workers of the city employees. My question, Mr. Chairman, is that right now, presently, the way these employees work, they work several months a year, two different groups, and they interchange one another. How would we go about having a conversation? Because a lot of these employees are now up to their fourth, almost fifth year consistently working. And to have these be sustainable jobs for folks to raise a family on, we'd like to see if we can have a conversation about making these year-round jobs opposed to 6-8 month jobs I think they are right now.
I'm certainly not opposed to any conversations about things that we could do to make our functions work better. I think, Matt, that's something that you and the staff need to look at, and I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you. I think there may be limitations as to what we can do.
That's why I'm asking the question.
But we don't know that till they have the discussion. We'd be more than happy to have the discussion.
All right.
And just to add, you do represent some outstanding folks who do an amazing job.
I appreciate
keeping
that.
this town very clean.
No, and that's why I want to raise this conversation and see if we can make these some sustainable jobs that people can actually raise a family on. So I appreciate your time.
Other comments from the public? Yes.
Steve Young, I'm here on behalf of the Polaris Development Group LLC. We do an annual historical Kentucky Avenue Renaissance Festival every year. And congratulations, Matt, and welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
As well as you, Rob, welcome. The Polaris Development Group, this is our 7th anniversary. So for 7 years, through good and bad in Atlantic City times, we kept the culture going, kept the entertainment going. And this year is very special. We have live music, vendors, children activities, and we have an exhibit that's going to be done from the library of what used to be on Kentucky Avenue as well as Club Hollywood. It's from 12 noon to 8 p.m. and it's on Saturday, August 11th, and we have a special guest, Blue Magic. Some of you may not know who Blue Magic is, but they smooth soul hits include What's Come Over Me, Sideshow, and Just Don't Want to Be Lonely. That's just some of what we do. We also have the legendary Angela Burton. She's sitting right beside me. She played in Club Hall and wasn't in the Legends. Yes, legend. And she played went all overseas playing for our soldiers and entertaining them during time of war and bad times. So she's a legend here in Atlantic City, right here. And we have the boss man from Philadelphia. He's here as well. And James Brown once said he was the best interpretation of him, impersonator of him, that he's ever seen. And you would not believe how this man can flip a hat. And we also have the Ebonies and Max Baxter, Firestorm Band, Avians, Dennis Black, and the Black Magic Swing Band. Yes, a swing band is going to be performing. We have also 120, who's R&B. We have jazz by some young people from Camden area that's coming down and is going to do some jazz. We have African American ensemble. It's going to be African dance. We also have Jeff Burnside, who's going to be doing some reggae, some music. So we have something for everybody. An impersonator of Michael Jackson is always going to be there as well. We also have some gospel, some young entertainment and local performers, as well as DJ Fardy. He's been playing he's from Atlantic City, been playing in and out of all the casinos. He plays local for us, and we are honored to have him there. And those are just a few of some of the activities going to be done from 12 to 8. And the reason why we come here is to invite you and all your businesses and all the people that you network with, and especially all the casinos. And get the word out to those 3,000 people that was hired in Ocean Resort, as well as Hard Rock. Let them know they're invited too. It's free, it's open to the public, and we would like to have you there. This is not funded by any grant money, not at all. No federal money, no state money, no city money. It's by the local people putting fundings together and different unions and different businesses coming together to do something free for Atlantic City and keeping the culture and entertainment alive. So with that, I would like to thank you again and invite you to something positive and moving forward. We met and we talked about some things with the Polaris Development and Economic Development. And we have before us, as he's going to say a few words, Mr. Walls, as well as Ms. John. John's right there. And they're going to be talking about how we can economically work together to bring some funding to the table to bring back the entertainment district known as Kentucky Avenue with the club hall. Thank you.
First of all, we thank you. We thank you for the people who are here. And this really does add to the environment of the city. Who else would like to speak?
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you for having me here this evening. I'm so grateful that I did sing in 35 countries overseas for our troops. I'd do it again if I had to. But I'm so honored to be a legend that's still alive. Yes,
In your own time.
yes, I'm still alive. From the Club Hall. My godfather was Chris Colombo. He played drums at Club Hall. On Kentucky and Atlantic Avenue, I had his name put up there. So whenever you go there, take a look up. It says Columbus Lane, Chris Columbus Lane. I'm inviting you to come see me perform and see why did the government keep me on tour to send me to 35 countries, right?
Yes.
I'm asking you to please come out. 2 to 3 o'clock, I shall be performing with my group. Denise Black, she has me to sing a couple numbers with her swing band. So, Miss Burton, you can hire me for rock. You can hire me. I have my country, my boots is at home, my hat's ready to go into the hard rock. But I'm just saying, no fun. We'll have a lot of fun. When I came up, and I was younger than all the artists, what kept Atlantic City alive? We didn't have casinos. It was the music. The music kept. Music, boardwalk, and beach. But music first. All the artists came to club. Sammy Davis Jr. You name it, they were there. And I'm grateful to say that I opened up for them. And you want to hire me? Gary knows my number.
I'm sure
And I
he does.
have, and she's terrific.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. And looking forward, when you come, please take a picture with me so I can put you on Facebook with me.
You got
Okay.
it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wish to speak? Yes.
Yes, my name is John Hall. I'm from the city of Philadelphia. I've been involved with a lot of events down in Philadelphia, as far as the Robin Hood Dale East, also the Man Music Center. I've been under Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff for almost 20 years. I come from the recording with Philly Cream. I travel around the world, Singapore, different countries. I'm also one of the contestants from America's Got Talent, and also won the Apollo 3 times. So when Steve Young called me and told me that this was in reference to Club Harlem, I remember Club Harlem when I was 17 years old, coming to Atlantic City. And that Kentucky Avenue was lit up like Broadway, you know, and we wish to really like try to bring that back, you know, for the community, to help the people. And I was thinking, I said, you know, how can we really make Atlantic City more better? I said, well, if we do the concerts in Atlantic City, why not take 10% of the money and give it back to the city? So I think that would be a good suggestion to look at. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wish to address the board? Yes, sir.
Yes, I would. Good afternoon. My name is Richard Walls. I'm working with the Polaris Group. One of the things that we would like to offer the city is the opportunity to allow the Apollo Theater, Showtime at the Apollo, to come to Atlantic City. The creators of Showtime at the Apollo would like to do Showtime in Atlantic City. This would go on during your off-season to bring more tourism in. It would feature everything Atlantic City has to offer. The casinos are still here. The stores are still here. The ocean never leaves. And it looks beautiful in the winter just like it does in the summer. You know, and these are one of the things that we were in touch with them, and they were very excited about it. They're ready to come, start in the fall. We also would like to bring in some shows, some festivals, maybe some like barbecue festivals and things like that. Atlantic City is a very beautiful city that everyone has to be reminded of is still here and is still booming.
Thank you. Steve, anybody else?
Hello, my name is John Harper. I'm with Greenbrier Capital. My primary focus is debt. We do triple bottom line funding, and I'm working with these people in order to actually bring the capital needed in order to fulfill these visions. The one thing that I will say is, if you're not familiar with triple bottom line, there's a social, economic, and an environmental return. And what we're talking about doing now is bringing that community involved in the whole revitalization of Atlantic City.
Anybody else wish to address the board? I thank all of you for your interest, for your comments, for your invitation, and we look forward to that being very successful, and we hope that it is, and these things become part of the magic of Atlantic City. So we are very grateful and look forward to seeing if we can't do more of this. Anybody else have a question from the public? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion of the meeting. I'm going to ask the board for a resolution to go into a short executive session. We will come out of it with no announcements. It won't take, I don't think, more than 5 or 10 minutes, and at which point we will adjourn. Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, so ordered. Thank you all for being here. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.